Your intuition is not a roadmap. It's a compass. A lot of people mistake intuition or make the assumption that their intuition is going to give them the blueprint or the map to exactly where they are supposed to go at all times with detail. It is this false assumption that leads people to disconnect from their intuition because it's not giving them all the answers that they want all the time and leaving them with 100% certainty along their entire path. So in place of listening to their intuition and for fear of uncertainty, people take the easy route, which gives them certainty. They'll sign up for things like university or a traditional 9-to-5 job because I know that after freshman year, there's sophomore year. And after sophomore year, there's junior year. And after junior year, there's senior year. And when I get into the entry-level position, I know what my first promotion will be. And then I know when I become a manager. And I know when I become the manager of the managers. And before you know it, you blink, your life has passed you by, and you didn't become who you could have become, or who I believe you were meant to become. And all along, your intuition was just quietly pointing in the right direction the entire time, but you ignored it because you expected the promise of certainty. You can't have both. You can't trust your intuition and have certainty along the entire path. But what you can trust with your intuition is that it's always pointing to your true north, and it will never lead you astray. Your intuition is never wrong. You either misunderstand it or you choose to actively ignore it. The best example I can think of is when you get into a relationship and you see the red flag very, very early, but you quickly over-rationalize and say, no, they were off, it was a weird thing, they didn't mean that, X, Y, and Z. Months pass, the relationship ends, and you look back and you're sitting there and you're like, you know what? I knew on the second date when they said that one thing that this wasn't going to work out. It wasn't that your intuition was wrong. In fact, it was right in that moment, but you chose to ignore it. And that happens in many, many areas of life when we have the conscious mind come in and over-rationalize the intuition, which is in the unconscious. In my opinion, it's the voice of God, the voice of the universe, our higher self, whatever words work for you, guiding you to where you're supposed to go. But again, it will not give you the entire roadmap, but it will point you to true north every single time. And what's important about true north is, imagine you're hiking through the jungle and you know you need to eventually reach the mountaintop X amount of kilometers away from you, but you know that it's north. You won't be able to see through the jungle. You won't know when you need to cross a river, go through the bush, build an encampment, climb a tree, all of the different things that you're going to need to do along the journey. You don't have that, but you do have a compass that's never going to be wrong. It's always going to be pointing you in the right direction. So instead of dwelling on the fact that you don't know what's going to come in front of you, what predators you might encounter on the trail, how you're going to get food along the way, you just keep looking down and you take the next step in front of you, pointed in the right direction. And this is exactly how you have to operate in life if you're going to start listening more to your intuition and being guided in the direction that it's trying to take you. You cannot and will not ever be able to know the future, and even the people that choose the certain path are kidding themselves, and in my opinion, lying to themselves when they say that their future is certain as well. Because what you can never account for, even in those more train track type life paths, is financial downturn, the company deciding to lay you off, the unexpected breakup in your personal life, losing a loved one, getting in an accident. And those are the negatively valenced things, but you also can't account for the amazing things that could come in and someone offers you a new job. You meet the love of your life. You get an opportunity to travel abroad, to travel to a different state. You can't account for those things. Anyone you meet, whether they're on an uncommon life path or the traditional route, you go up to them and ask, hey, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago, would you have known you are going to be right where you are now? Most people, if they're humble enough, will say, I had no idea. I honestly thought I was going to be way over here, and then X, Y, and Z happened, and here I am. So uncertainty is one of the components we can't escape with this life in general. So the only thing you're doing by choosing the certain path is you're numbing the discomfort of the uncertainty, with a fictional train track that you're hopping on. Meanwhile, you're delaying the life and the person that you're supposed to become. And in the end of it all, you'll look back and have missed it. So the important thing when listening to your intuition is to not expect it to give you all the answers at once. It's never going to do that. In fact, it cannot. And it would ruin the story. If I told you how a book ended or how a movie ended, would you take the time to go spend a couple days reading the book or a couple hours watching the movie? Probably not. The path and the story is exactly why you watch, and it's why you read. And it's also why we are here. We're here to live the story. We're here to have the experience. So the fact that your intuition isn't spoiling the whole plot of your life, you should be grateful and be excited at the uncertainty and what amazing things can unfold in front of you if you trust the intuition and lean into a little bit of that uncertainty and discomfort in the next step. You only ever have to know what the next thing you're going to do is. And in both my personal opinion and personal experience, the more that you lean into that magic and that uncertainty and that discomfort, the more magical the outcome on the other side. Things you can't predict, things you couldn't even dream up and put on your vision board will be given to you if you act in faith, listening to that intuition and acting in accordance with your highest timeline. Trust that your compass is pointing true north, and then take the first step right in front of you in faith, and it will take you where you need to go. I hope that was helpful. Comment below what you thought of this video, this idea. If you have any questions around intuition and your personal life path, I'm happy to respond to any comments. You can DM me. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.